At the presentation for a national competition, the professor, his face ashen, slammed a stack of documents down hard on my face. It contained more than a dozen pages of plagiarized data. Copied verbatim. I was publicly accused of academic misconduct on the spot and lost my eligibility for direct admission to graduate school. I was chased out in a humiliating fashion, while my roommate Lynn Ranran, who had helped me print the materials, was laughing so hard she was doubled over in a corner of the hallway. Just tell the counselor that I secretly swapped it out. The security camera's been broken for a Jeswo's going to believe you. That evening, I went up to the rooftop alone to enjoy the breeze and calm my nerves. But Lynn Ranran suddenly rushed over with a large group of classmates and their counselor. She pointed at me in anguish and shouted, "Mang K, come down right now. Stop threatening the school by saying you'll jump off the building. You cheated. So just own up to it. It's better to admit your mistake and start over." Amid the chaotic struggle, she took advantage of a blind spot in the crowd's view and violently pushed me off the 12th floor. After the excruciating pain subsided, I opened my eyes again to find myself back on the day my roommate had offered to help me print out some materials. Mang K, give me the USB drive. I'm heading to the copy shop anyway, so I'll print out the materials for your defense tomorrow while I'm there. Lynn Ranran leaned back against the back of my chair, her tone lightening. I could still feel the excruciating pain of my bones and flesh shattering as I fell from the 12th floor, tearing at my nerves. As soon as I turned my head, I saw her face, with its feigned enthusiasm. Have I been reborn? No. Thanks. I let out a deep breath, fought back the tremor caused by my excitement, pulled out the USB drive, and slipped it into my pocket. Her hand, suspended in midair, paused. Why? It's raining outside. Going out one more time would just be asking for trouble. I glanced at her. I'll just go by myself. If you need to print something, I can bring it back for you. Oh, I've been trying to lose weight lately, so I want to walk more. She covered her mouth and giggled. You're not worried I'll sneak a peek at your data, are you? We're roommates, there's no need to be so guarded. Besides, you're such a genius, how am I supposed to understand all that complicated stuff you're working on? Su Jia, who had been studying vocabulary, took off her headphones, and Wang Yiting poked half her head out from the top bunk. Mang K, Ranran means well, just let her bring it back for you on her way, Su Jia said, trying to smooth things over. Wang Yiting chimed in. That's right. That way, you can take a longer nap, recharge, and get ready for tomorrow. I glanced at Lynn Ranran. She had an impeccable look of hurt on her face, as if I'd just done something utterly unforgivable to her. I don't find it a hassle to print out a document that only takes 5 minutes. I'd rather not bother anyone than do that. I stood up and looked straight at Lynn Ranran. But what about you? Why did you have to take my flash drive? What do you mean by that? Her voice immediately rose by 8 octaves, and her eyes began to well up slightly. I'm trying to help you out of the goodness of my heart. So who are you being so sarcastic with? If you don't want to, just say so, don't make it seem like I'm out to get you. She turned and walked over to her desk, slamming the book down with a loud thud. Su Jia frowned and asked me, why are you so upset today? Ranran was just looking out for you. For my own good. I couldn't help but chuckle. 3 months ago, during the college-level outstanding student selection, she, thinking she was doing me a favor, accidentally tucked my application form into a stack of old newspapers, causing me to miss the submission deadline. Last month, when we were scheduling lab shifts, she, with my best interests in mind, asked my advisor to excuse me, saying I wasn't feeling well, and transferred my lab time directly to herself. Su Jia looked a little awkward and fell silent. Lynn Ranran spun around abruptly. That was all a misunderstanding. I've already apologized to you. Is it really necessary to hold a grudge this long and keep bringing up the past? Since this is a misunderstanding, let's not create any new ones. I opened the dorm room door. These are my things. I hope you'll leave them alone from now on. The moment the door closed, I heard Lynn Ranran burst into tears inside. Instead of going to a copy shop off campus, I made a phone call and then went to the digital reading room. In my previous life, this was the exact moment when I handed the USB drive to Lin Ranran. It contains the PowerPoint presentation I spent a full half-year preparing, as well as the final version of the experimental data. Lin Ranran replaced the hard copy of the materials I had submitted to the professor with a plagiarized version. Not only that, but the night before my defense, she secretly logged into my computer and deleted all my backups. When I realized at the defense that my materials had been swapped, I was completely at a loss for words. I sat down at the computer in the corner, logged into the cloud storage, downloaded all the data to my local drive, and then permanently deleted that account. I registered 3 new accounts and uploaded all the data, each with a different long password. After doing all that, I threw the empty USB drive straight into the trash can outside the library. If Lin Ranran wants it, she can go rummage through the trash can. That afternoon, as soon as I pushed open the lab door, I saw senior classmate Xinyan sitting at my desk. He is the Ph.D. student supervising our group, and he is also from the same hometown as Lin Ranran. Xinyan tapped the keyboard. Mang K. Come take a look. I walked over and found that the computer was already turned on. I knew exactly what had happened, but I asked anyway. Who touched my computer? Ranran was looking up some references a moment ago and borrowed it. I said flatly. My computer has a startup password. How did she log in? We're all on the same team, so it's perfectly normal to borrow each other's computers. Isn't your student ID your login password? Xinyan furrowed his brow. Ranran said you snapped at her in the dorm this morning. You need to be more open-minded in your academic work and always treat your classmates like imaginary enemies. I pointed to the rules and regulations on the wall. Senior classmate Shin. The first rule is that each computer is for a specific purpose. Only sharing is strictly prohibited. She can use her own computer to look up references. Why does she need to use mine? Her computer is in for repairs. Xinyan's voice grew solemn. Mang K. What's your problem? How many all-nighters has Ranran pulled over the past half-month to help you guys organize the preliminary literature? As the team leader, aren't you even willing to make this small accommodation? I nodded and calmly asked in return. Of the papers she stayed up all night to organize, are there more than 3 that were published in journals ranked C or higher? If so, point them out, and I'll apologize to her right away. Xinyan was at a loss for words. After all, the whole team knows full well what Lin Ranran is capable of. Xinyan waved his hand impatiently. All right, my defense is tomorrow. Let's not get hung up on these trivial matters. Just like everyone else, please share a copy of the core comparison data to the public drive, and I'll review it for you tonight. No, I'll take care of my own data. You're responsible. How are you going to take responsibility? Xinyan said sternly. This isn't just about getting into graduate school. It's also about the funding approval for our entire lab. The professor specifically instructed that all competition data must be reviewed by me. You refuse to cooperate. If something goes wrong tomorrow, can you take the blame? As I watched Xinyan looking so righteous, I chuckled to myself. In his previous life, he said the same thing, asked me to upload the data under the pretext of a review. So what happened? Those key data points became Lin Ranran's original work. As for me, not only was my reputation completely ruined, but I also lost my life. Senior Shin, Professor Zhang specifically told you to monitor our progress, not to take control of our data. I pulled out a chair and sat down. I've already finalized it. There's no need for a review. You. Xinyan was furious and pointed his finger right at my nose. All right, Mang K, you've got some nerve. If anything goes wrong tomorrow, you'll have to explain it to the professor yourself. He slammed the door and stormed out. I looked at the cup of milk tea that had suddenly appeared on the table. There was a pink post-it note stuck to the cup that read, "Don't be mad, KK. I'll treat you to your favorite bubble tea. Good luck tomorrow," even without a byline. We know who wrote it. I picked up the milk tea and tossed it straight into the trash can at my feet, then pulled up the system logs on my computer. Sure enough, Lin Ranran plugged in an external device and copied the files from my D drive. Unfortunately, There was nothing in there except for a few movies and some discarded drafts. I picked up my phone and took a screenshot of the operation log. It was just past dinner time when the class chat group suddenly came alive. Lynn Ranran sent a 5-second voice message. The defense is tomorrow. And Meng K and I are the only two from our class participating. She's probably been feeling really anxious lately and isn't in the best shape. So if anyone has time, please come support her and cheer her on. Her voice was soft and gentle, full of concern. It looks good. A string of replies immediately followed in the group chat. Ranran is so thoughtful. Can even a top student at Meng University feel anxious? Didn't she already have a guaranteed spot in the graduate program? Maybe I'm just setting the bar too high for myself. Please cut me some slack. As I looked at the screen filled with praise, I coldly typed out a line and sent it. Keeping an eye out for thieves is way more tiring than doing experiments. It really does make me anxious. The group chat fell silent in an instant. For a full 2 minutes, no one said a word. Shortly after, Lynn Ranran sent an emoji of a tearful, aggrieved face. KK, are you still mad? I really just wanted to help you print out some materials. I didn't reply. It was too much of a waste of time. Tomorrow's defense is the most important thing. When I woke up the next day, Lynn Ranran was already gone. After I finished my morning routine and had a light breakfast, I made my way to the auditorium at a leisurely pace. The selection defense was held here, with 5 senior professors from the field sitting on the judging panel, including Professor Zhang. The back rows of the auditorium were filled with students there to observe. Almost our entire class was there. As I walked into the auditorium carrying my laptop, Lynn Ranran was sitting in the front row, whispering something to Xin Yan. When she saw me, she immediately stood up and came over. You're finally here. I thought you were going to be late. As she spoke, she hurriedly reached out to take my laptop bag. Did you bring all your materials? Let me check them over for you one more time. No. Thank you, I said, pulling my hand away from hers. Oh, come on. Don't be so nervous. She leaned in a little closer and said in a voice only the two of us could hear. I know you've been keeping your distance from me lately, but today is a big day, and I won't cause any trouble. Where are your hard copies? You need to submit them to the judges in advance. I'll help you. I'll turn it in myself. I interrupted her, took the handouts the librarian had printed for me out of my bag, and handed them out to the professors one by one. Lynn Ranran kept staring in my direction, a faint smile playing at the corners of her lips. I pretended not to see it. Let her enjoy herself for now. She won't be smiling much longer. The defense has officially begun. The first few students performed fairly standardly, and Professor Zhang let them off after asking just a few routine questions. It was Lynn Ranran's turn to go on stage. She was in good form today. Her PowerPoint presentation was flashy, and she spoke eloquently while pointing to the line graph on the screen. I watched from the audience, a faint smile playing on my lips. That was modified using a dataset I discarded 3 months ago. It's stored on Drive D. She hasn't even corrected the baseline error. Wait a minute. Sure enough, Professor Zhang interrupted her. There's an error with this parameter on page 3. How did you handle it? Lynn Ranran paused for a moment. Well, there were some discrepancies in the environment we simulated in the lab, but the final results were as expected. That kind of stock phrase sounds familiar. Xin Yan used to say it all the time. So it seems he's the one who taught it to him. Professor Zhang frowned, but didn't press the matter further. He simply made a mark on the grading sheet. As Lynn Ranran stepped off the stage, she let out a long sigh of relief. As she walked past me, she whispered, "It's your turn. Top student, don't be nervous." I let out a silent snort and walked up to the stage with my laptop. Just as I was explaining the core algorithm on the second page, Professor Zhang in the audience suddenly turned pale. He began flipping through the documents, the pages rustling as he turned them. Then he yanked off his glasses. Meng K, stop. The sound came suddenly, almost like a roar. Everyone's gaze turned to his angry face. Professor Zhang pointed at the documents on the table, his voice trembling with anger. You're so bold. What on earth is this stuff you've turned in? I've been through this once before, so of course I know what that's about. All the data from a paper published 2 years ago in a well-known journal, without a single word changed. This is plagiarism. It's a verbatim copy. Professor Lee, standing nearby, also opened his notes, his face turning ashen. Main K, you're usually such a top student. Even without this competition, the school was planning to offer you a spot in the graduate program. Is this how you repay them? The sudden unexpected turn of events sent the audience into an uproar. Wow. Just copying a paper. Has Main K lost his mind? No wonder she said she was under a lot of pressure in the group chat yesterday. Turns out she just had a guilty conscience. Academic fraud, that's grounds for immediate expulsion. Amid the uproar, Lin Ranran suddenly jumped to her feet. She strode up to the stage, her face a mask of disbelief, tears streaming down her cheeks. Main K, how could you do something like this? Her voice choked with emotion, and she looked deeply distressed. You stayed up until the early hours of the morning before, telling me the data was too difficult. I trusted you so much that I even let you use the lab computer. Why did you have to deceive everyone like this? She turned around and bowed deeply toward the judges' table. Professors, I am Main K's roommate and a member of her group. Our group really had no idea she would do something like this. I apologize to everyone on her behalf. I'm so sorry. With these words, she not only subtly accused me of academic fraud, but also cleared herself of any blame. Even the other members of the team are indebted to her. Chinyan also stood up and said with righteous indignation, Professors, it is all my fault as your senior classmate. It's my fault for trusting Main K too much and not being strict enough with her. That's why this happened today. I recommend disqualifying Main K from the competition and taking serious disciplinary action. Professor Zhang looked at me coldly and asked, Main K, do you have anything else to say? Faced with public condemnation, I didn't panic this time. In fact, I really wanted to give them a round of applause. I picked up the microphone on the lectern and slowly began to speak. Professors, please remain calm. First, turn to the last page and take a look at the binding stamp and the date in the lower right corner. Professor Zhang paused for a moment, then opened it with a look of suspicion. It clearly states the time and place it was printed. 7:15 this morning at the Dongyuan copy shop. I was still in the dorm at the time. You can access the surveillance footage and access control records at any time, and the dorm supervisor can corroborate this. Excuse me, did I print this with my mind while I was dreaming? I turned to look at the culprit. Come to think of it, at that time, I was only 15 minutes away from heading out with Lin Ranran. All eyes in the room suddenly turned to Lin Ranran. Her face went pale, and she jumped to her feet. Main K, what are you getting at? You got caught plagiarizing, and now you're trying to pin it on me. Since when do copy shops record the time and location? You clearly forged this yourself just to frame me. I raised an eyebrow. Yesterday, I realized something wasn't right. So I called the boss and made this little suggestion to him. I was just trying to avoid trouble down the road, but I ended up preparing for the future without even realizing it. If looks could kill, I'd probably be nothing but a pile of bones by now. Lin Ranran gritted her teeth and protested. There are so many people at the copy shop every day. How can you be sure it was me? I calmly worked on my computer and switched the screen to a video file. Earlier, you said in the group chat that I was anxious. Actually, I'm not just anxious, I also feel very insecure. To prevent another misunderstanding like the one before, I placed a miniature camera on my desk last night before going to bed. I pressed play. The screen flickered, and a clear surveillance video appeared. At 7:30 this morning. Lin Ranran tiptoed back to the dorm and walked over to my backpack, then unzipped it. She pulled out the original documents and slipped the pre-printed sheets inside. After she was done, she gave my bed a cold laugh, then turned and locked my files in her own cabinet. The auditorium fell completely silent, and then a burst of murmuring erupted even louder than before. Every frame of the video felt like a resounding slap, landing hard on Lin Ranran's face. I looked down at her from above. You've really gone to great lengths to ruin my reputation. No. This can't be true. She screamed and pointed at the screen with a trembling hand. She set me up on purpose. Don't believe her. Leash's always been jealous of how popular I am. And this video was AI generated. Oh. Do you want me to call the police right here so the experts can come and authenticate it? Besides, if you want to know whether it's synthetic or not, just open your closet, right? I stared at her intently. You haven't had a chance to deal with those pages of documents you stole, have you? Lin Ranran was speechless, unable to utter a single word. Professor Zhang was so angry that he slammed his fist on the table. This is an absolute farce. On such an important occasion, to pull off such a low-class stunt. Lin Ranran, you're something else. Professor, I really didn't. She was so distraught that tears streamed down her face, and she turned to Xin Yan for help. Senior Xin, please stick up for me. I was with you the whole time this morning. There's no way I could have gone to change her information. Xin Yan looked embarrassed. He clearly hadn't expected me to be holding something back, but he quickly caught on and tried to muddy the waters. Main K. A video doesn't prove anything, it's just a personal conflict within your dorm. This is the defense. You can't produce any real detail, just wasting everyone's time. Is this how you approach academia? Who says I can't produce the data? I shot him a sarcastic sideways glance and logged into my encrypted account. I knew all along that the paper documents had been swapped. The reason I kept a low profile was to see what Lin Ranran was really up to. My formal PowerPoint presentation appeared on the screen. I've already asked the usher to place the actual hard copies in the brown paper bags on each professor's desk. The 5 professors all opened the paper bags in their hands at the same time. This is what I've come up with over the past 6 months on a related topic. Compared to the lab's original model, data processing efficiency has improved by 40%. The next 20 minutes will be my time to shine. From logic to real-world scenarios, from error analysis to future projections, I covered everything thoroughly. Several professors listened with sparkling eyes. And Professor Zhang even filled several pages of his notebook with notes. The mood in the audience immediately shifted. Holy crap! Is this something an undergrad could actually pull off? She's a genuine top student. I think Lin Ranran is just jealous of her. Hu Ziqing really wasn't kidding me. Evil roommate has become a reality. Lin Ranran couldn't stop her body from trembling. She stuck out her chin and shouted. She's so young, there's no way she could have come up with such complex data. Professor, there's definitely something fishy going on. Seeing her so flustered, I just found it funny. If you think I'm not up to the task, why did you go to such lengths to plug an external device into my computer and copy my files? I'll move on to the next page of images and share the server logs I captured yesterday in the lab. I looked at Xin Yan. Senior brother Xin kept insisting yesterday that she was just borrowing my computer to look up some references. Does looking up references really require wiping my D drive? Completely clean. Xin Yan, whom I had called out in front of everyone, turned pale and then flushed. How am I supposed to know what she did? Xin Yan hurried to distance himself from the situation. Don't go making false accusations. How would I know she's up to no good? Senior brother Xin. Lin Ranran stared at him in disbelief. That's not what you said yesterday. You clearly said that as long as I could get. Shut up. Xin Yan's sharp outburst cut him off before he could finish. You're the one with poor conduct. And now you want to drag me down with you. What have I always taught you? You have to be diligent and down-to-earth in your academic work. What a dog-eat-dog spectacle. But it's not enough. I can't just let them off the hook, otherwise I'd be letting down my past self. Speaking of being down-to-earth, I actually have a question I'd like to ask Lin Ranran. I switched the PowerPoint slide back to Lin Ranran's previous line graph. You just said that the parameter anomalies were due to errors in the simulation environment. So let me ask you, what kind of environment is it? She stared blankly at the screen. Her lips moved for a long time before she finally said something. Of course. At room temperature. You're lying. I called them out without mercy. This reading would only occur in an environment with humidity below 10%. Our lab couldn't possibly be that dry. Professor Zhang, sitting in the audience, nodded. I had a feeling something was off just now. Lin Ran. How exactly did you come up with this number? By this point, she was drenched in sweat and clutching the hem of her shirt tightly. I derived this from the reference materials senior brother Shin gave me. Here we go again. Can't you come up with something new? I curled my lips into a cold smile. Lin Ran. You used my discarded data. You didn't even change the file name and brought it right to the defense. You've been openly and covertly accusing me of academic fraud. But who is it? Exactly. Who treats stolen trash as if it were a treasure? My words struck like a thunderclap, causing a huge uproar. Stealing your roommate's rejected draft for your defense? You're really bold. Aren't you afraid of getting caught red-handed? This is a national competition. After all, you can't even spot a basic fact error. And you have the nerve to get up on stage. Get off the stage right now. Don't embarrass our school. If Meng, the top student, hadn't been prepared, he would probably have been accused of being the very thing he was trying to catch, and even with the facts on his side, he wouldn't have been able to clear his name. Professor Zhang, having reached his limit, pointed his finger right at Lin Ran's nose and berated her. You're trying to fool us by plagiarizing someone else's rejected draft. It looks to me like you don't want to stay in school anymore. Lin Ran was so frightened that her legs gave way, and she collapsed onto the ground, bursting into tears. Professor, I was wrong. I was really wrong. It was Senior Shin Yan who told me to do this. He said that as long as I passed the defense, the spot in the graduate program would be mine, and he's the one who told me to copy the data from Meng K's computer. You're making baseless accusations. Shin Yan suddenly lunged forward and glared fiercely at Lin Ran. You're completely uneducated yourself. Yet you dare to slander me. Professor, please don't listen to her nonsense. I had absolutely no idea. You didn't know. Are you sure? I pulled up 3 screenshots of chat logs from my computer and displayed them on the big screen. Here are your chat logs with Lin Ran from the past few days. April 10th. Meng K has been making rapid progress lately. We need to figure out a way to get her key data. April 13th. She's too suspicious. Log into her computer first and find some usable data to make it look legitimate. I'll send you the final version after I review it. And I guarantee you'll pass. April 14th. Once this is all settled, you'll get the spot in the graduate program, and I'll get a cut of the lab funding. We'll each get what we want. This has to stay a secret. With every sentence I recited, Shin Yan's face grew paler. You guys are both brave and stupid to chat so freely on the lab computers. I guess you're convinced I won't find out. Shin Yan, you abused your position to cover up academic misconduct by members of your group. And you even colluded with them to suppress and slander fellow students in your group. You will bear all the consequences and pay the full price for this. Shin Yan was trembling all over. He pointed at me and growled, "You've invaded my privacy. What you're doing is illegal. Everything in the lab is a shared resource. Professor Zhang has explicitly stipulated that all operations must be logged for audit purposes, so how could there be any invasion of privacy?" I gave him a sarcastic look, then glanced at Lin Ran. What you've done, that's what really constitutes a violation of the law and discipline. Professor Zhang was so angry that he coughed repeatedly, his hand trembling as he pointed at Shin Yan. I put you in charge of the team, and this is how you lead it. You've thrown basic ethics out the window just for that measly budget. Professor Zhang, I just lost my head for a moment. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, Shin Yan fell to his knees with a thud. I lost my head. Please give me a chance. I'm about to graduate, and if I get disciplined, my whole life will be ruined. I couldn't help but snort derisively. When you're trying to ruin someone else's future, why don't you think a little more about the victim? Professor Zhang said emotionally. Security, take these 2 out of here. I'm going to report this to the college immediately and launch a thorough investigation. I will not tolerate this. Security guards immediately escorted the 2 men out of the auditorium. Lin Ran struggled frantically, her hair a mess, and screamed at me like a shrew. Meng K, you set me up on purpose. Just you wait, I am not done with you yet. I calmly watched her receding figure as she was dragged away and said slowly, I'll be waiting. The auditorium gradually fell silent, and several professors looked very grim. After a brief discussion, Professor Zhang exhaled a heavy breath and nodded at me with satisfaction. Mang K. I'm sorry you had to go through that fiasco just now. You performed exceptionally well and demonstrated excellent mental resilience in handling unexpected situations. You will represent the school in this year's science and innovation competition. Amid a round of applause, I closed my laptop and bowed deeply toward the judge's table. Back in my dorm room, I started packing my bags, getting ready to move into the apartment my parents rented for me tomorrow. I don't want to stay in this dorm room even for a second longer. That afternoon, the school's disciplinary notice was posted on the bulletin board. Lin Ranran and Xin Yan were expelled from school and ordered to withdraw. Everyone took to the forum to condemn the two of them. Lin Ranran's previously carefully crafted public image crumbled, and she became the laughingstock of the entire school. It wasn't until evening that I finally finished packing everything up. Just then, his cell phone suddenly vibrated. Lin Ranran posted a long essay in the class chat group. I'm sorry, Mang K. I just wanted so badly to stay in school and continue my studies that I ended up making such a huge mistake. My family is poor, so if I can't go to graduate school, I'll have no choice but to go back to my hometown and get married. You're so amazing, why can't you just give me a way out? There's no point in me living anymore. Since you hate me so much, I'll give you my life in return. I'm waiting for you on the roof of the school building right now. Next is a bird's eye view photo taken from the edge of the rooftop. The group chat instantly erupted into a frenzy. Lin Ranran. Don't act on impulse, nothing is more valuable than your life. Where's Mang K? Hurry up and come out to talk some sense into her even if she's in the wrong. She shouldn't drive someone to their death. Quick. Notify the counselor. Everyone. Hurry to the academic building to rescue the people. I watched the messages in the group chat with a cold eye. It's the same old routine, even the location hasn't changed. Mang K. Why are you still sitting there? Go check it out. If someone really dies, you won't be able to escape blame. Her roommate, Su Jia, was so anxious she was stamping her feet. Wang Yiting also hurriedly slipped on her coat. That's right. Even though she can be a bit manipulative at times, it's not a capital offense. And the school has already disciplined her. You really went too far today by embarrassing her in front of so many people. I turned to look at them and gave a silent, cold smile. When she was about to steal my data, you thought she was just trying to help. She almost ruined my future. Yet you don't think she deserves to die. She brought it on herself by threatening to jump off a building. Yet you think I pushed her too far. So, since the knife didn't stab you, you just sit there and talk as if it doesn't hurt you. Is that it? I shut them both up so they had nothing to say. I stood up calmly and said, all right. I'll go take a look right now and see if she actually dares to jump. As soon as I stepped out of the dorm room, I dialed 110. By the time I arrived on the rooftop with the security guard and Uncle Hat, the area was already packed with people. The counselor was sweating profusely with anxiety as he stood up front, pleading with them earnestly. Lin Ranran. Let's talk this through. The school can reopen the investigation. There might still be a chance to turn things around. She straddled the outside of the railing, half her body hanging in midair, crying her heart out. When she saw me, she stopped crying, her eyes bloodshot with anger. Mang K, you've ruined my life. Are you happy now? I got expelled from school. My parents say they'll cut me off if I don't get married. I've lost everything. The counselor whispered to me, just back down for now and calm her down. If she really jumps, it'll have a terrible impact on the school. Back down. No way. I looked straight at Lin Ranran. I'm here now. Just say what you want to say. What do you want? A flash of cruelty crossed her eyes, but it was quickly drowned out by even more exaggerated sobs. I want you to apologize to me publicly, retract that so-called evidence, and tell the school that today was just a misunderstanding. Otherwise, I'll die right here today. And people will be pointing fingers at you for the rest of your life. I crossed my arms and nodded toward the spot behind her. Why don't you take a look down there first? She instinctively looked down. A police cordon has been set up downstairs, and police and firefighters are setting up a large air cushion. I've already called the police for you. And I've also called the fire department. I raised my voice to make sure everyone in the room could hear me. You just said in the group chat that I'm leaving you no way out. The police are right here now. If you have any grievances, come down and tell them. Lin Ranran's expression changed. Why did you call the police? Are you only satisfied when you've made a spectacle of me in front of everyone? Isn't it just that you want everyone to watch you put on a show, put pressure on me, and force me to give in? I took a step forward. Now that we have more viewers, you should actually thank me. The counselor quickly grabbed me. Main K, hold your tongue. Don't provoke her. I gently shook off the counselor's hand. We have to set the record straight right now. Otherwise, even if she calms down today, by tomorrow rumors will be spreading that I, Main K, almost drove my roommate to suicide. I looked at Lin Ranran again and raised my voice. When you were trying to harm me, did you ever stop to think that one day it would backfire on you? She grew increasingly agitated, clutching the railing with both hands and shaking it violently. Why do you always have to be one step ahead of me? Why does the teacher always favor you? So what if I just want a spot in the graduate school recommendation program? Your family is so well off, can't you just let me die once? This absurd logic left everyone present speechless. Just because I come from a good family, does that mean I deserve to have half a year's worth of hard work stolen from me by you? Just because I get good grades, does that mean I deserve to take the blame for your plagiarism? Do you think you're the ruler of the earth? Or that everyone in the world is your mother, so you think you're justified in being a jerk? I said sharply. I was just showcasing the fruits of my own labor on stage. How is that me forcing you? Did I tell you to steal or rob? A murmur began to rise from the crowd. First you make up lies and slander others. Then you play the victim and jump off a building. What kind of behavior is that? Yeah. If I weren't worried about the teaching building being haunted whenever I walk by in the future, I wouldn't bother coming over to help. Seeing that things weren't going her way, Lin Ranran suddenly took another small step forward, pointed at me, and growled, Main K, come here and pull me back. Then apologize to me, and I won't jump. She reached out her hand to me, but most of her body was still leaning toward the floor below. Not only did I not step forward, but I actually took a few steps back, retreating directly behind the two men in hats. Officer, this student is very emotionally unstable and highly aggressive. I suspect she wants to use me as a scapegoat. Please make sure I'm safe. As soon as the police officer heard this, he grew even more wary. Lin Ranran froze in her tracks, her outstretched hand suspended in midair, feeling both embarrassed and angry. Main K, do you have any humanity left? I'm in this state, and yet you're still wary of me. She screamed hysterically. Are you too scared to jump? I asked, looking at her mockingly. Lin Ranran, when you stepped out just now, you deliberately stepped on the inner maintenance platform. Although it looked like you were hanging in midair, there was actually solid ground beneath your feet. You deliberately chose 8:00 p.m. because you knew that's when there would be the most students. The counselor would be on duty, and everyone could get there right away. You even plugged your phone into a power bank. What? Are you worried it'll run out of battery while you're recording? With every word I spoke, Lin Ranran's face grew paler. The crowd erupted in an uproar. Holy crap! You even brought a power bank. This is obviously just an act. That's way too manipulative, taking advantage of our sympathy and using us as pawns. Get down here right away. This is an absolute disgrace, wasting police and fire department resources. Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning? Public opinion took a complete turn, and the counselor's face turned ashen. Lin Ranran, hurry up and get down here. Lin Ranran realized that her painstakingly crafted act had been completely exposed, and she was furious and humiliated. She stared at me intently, her eyes filled with hatred. Main K, I'll kill you. She quickly scrambled back over the railing and rushed toward me like a madwoman. I don't know when a fruit knife ended up in my hand. Watch out. The crowd gasped. The police officer standing in front of me acted quickly and kicked her to the ground. Another police officer quickly stepped forward, pinned her down firmly, and wrestled the knife from her hand. "Let me go, Mang K. May you die a horrible death." The officer in charge looked stern. Picking a fight and attempting to injure someone with a knife take him back to the station. The moment the handcuffs were slipped onto her wrists, Lynn Ranran finally realized that things had gotten out of hand. "No, I don't want to go to the police station. I still want to go to grad school," she screamed in terror. "Mang K, you'll get what's coming to you." I walked up to her, crouched down, and looked at her face, contorted with anger. "Karma has already come only. It's come back to haunt you." The curses echoed through the hallway, growing fainter and fainter until they faded away completely. As the crowd dispersed, I finished taking my statement and went downstairs with the counselor. The pain of falling from the 12th floor at that moment seemed to vanish into thin air. Back in the dorm, Su Jia and Wang Yiting, who had watched the whole thing, looked utterly embarrassed. "Mang K, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that to you." Su Jia spoke very softly, her voice betraying a hint of guilt. "I'm sorry, but I was just afraid something might happen to her and ruin your reputation." Wang Yiting explained stiffly. I gave them a casual glance. "No need to apologize. I don't plan on getting too close to you guys anyway. Let's just go our separate ways and wish each other well. I'm not in the mood to put on some kind of reconciliation charade with them." In my previous life, when Lin Ranran pushed me down the stairs, they were hiding behind the crowd, just like today, and didn't dare say a word. Even when Lin Ranran was spreading rumors about me, they helped fan the flames in the class chat group. People like that aren't worth my emotional investment. In the days that followed, the police launched a full-scale investigation, and the case was quickly resolved. Lin Ranran attempted to injure someone with a knife on the rooftop. She had a clear intent to attack and acted with malicious intent. Not only did she steal my data, but over the past year, she has also been stealing other students' lab equipment and reselling it on second-hand marketplaces. The amount involved was more than 30,000 yuan. She was sentenced to 5 years in prison for multiple offenses and now has a criminal record. Unwilling to accept his expulsion, Xin Yan went to his advisor's home to cause a scene, but was eventually thrown out by security. He tried to find a job at a company in another city. During the background check, the scandal was thoroughly investigated. No legitimate company would even consider hiring him. So in the end, he had no choice but to slink back to his hometown. At the finals of the Science and Innovation competition, I took the stage the most prestigious Oneto present my research findings. This time, there were no roommates stabbing me in the back, nor any accusations made without distinguishing right from wrong. Only strength forged through countless trials. When I finished reading the last page, the audience broke into a long, sustained round of applause. The head judge, a real heavyweight, nodded at me with a smile. "Mang, I was wondering if you'd be interested in joining my team to continue your studies during your graduate program." A gasp of surprise rippled through the crowd. It was the country's top laboratory, a place countless people dreamed of working at. I stood in the spotlight, clutching the microphone in my hand, and smiled with a sense of relief. "Thank you, Professor. It's a great honor. Having been given a second chance at life, I didn't become some so-called revenge machine. I simply took back everything that rightfully belonged to me. Those who tried to climb to the top by stepping on my own flesh and blood have fallen into the graves they dug for themselves. As for me, I will walk toward the light, step by step, steadily making my way to the very top."